What's up, guys? Welcome to the Athlete Conversation. With me today, I have a special guest, my boy Bryan Montañez.
¿Cómo estamos? How we doing, boss?
How you doing, brother?
I'm
Good?
doing pretty good, my man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. Before we begin, though, guys, please, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is the first time I do this, by the way.
Oh, really?
Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure you give it a good rating, share with your friends.
Turn on notifications.
Turn on notifications. Let's go, bro. Let's dive into
Get it.
this. Okay, you, brother. Tell
Yo.
us a little bit about yourself. What sport did you play? Where you from?
Yes, sir. Hi, my name is Bryan Montañez. I'm from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I gotta make that known. Currently I'm a model, content creator, bartender on the side. I'm just trying to pay rent.
Yeah.
But I used to be, what a lot of people don't know is that I used to be a baseball player my whole life. I
Okay.
started playing when I was 3 years old. And I think that came from the fact that I was born into a baseball family. My two older brothers, as soon as I saw them, they were
Yeah.
playing stick and ball.
How old are they?
One of them is 32 and the other one he's about to turn 29. About to
29,
turn
32.
30, actually. Jesus.
Oof, that's a big number, bro.
Yeah, so it's funny though, because I'm a lefty and my brothers are righties, and I looked up to them so much to the point where I started playing baseball. I started batting from the right side instead of the left,
Even though you were lefty?
even though I was a lefty. I eventually learned how to swing from the left side, but I was so enamored by the sport and by them. I just looked up to them so much that I started playing baseball on the right side.
That's pretty
Yeah.
pretty crazy, dude. How long did you play on the right side until you were like, okay, I'm way better on the left side? Like, what was the moment that you were like, okay, I gotta switch this up?
When I was 10, I've always been a very anxious individual, and I think it's some people just come with a different watt of energy, and you know that
you're an energetic guy.
I'm an energetic guy. So when I was 10, I faced my real hardship in life. I got hit by a ball by an older kid playing baseball. I really didn't know how to process it. I lost my breath. I got the wind knocked out of me.
Okay.
And it completely reset in my brain. Like I couldn't play. I didn't want to play. I was so scared.
But what happened? It just hit you really hard? Did you break any bones? Or was it just like a traumatic experience?
It was a traumatic experience, but I was 9U going into 10U, and the pitcher was 11U going into 12U. So they had a 2-year gap on us.
It's a big boy.
And it's not really a not normal thing to face the kids that are older than us, just
Okay.
because, for a competitive edge.
Yeah.
But my brain just didn't know how to process it. I even saw like a sports psychologist, and that's when I really started noticing that my parents also that I was an anxious kid because I couldn't deal with it, and then that tied up to existential dread when I was like 11.
Wow.
It just completely went sideways. But the way I regained that confidence was started playing from the left side, my more natural side. And it was difficult at first, but I leaned into it, and from 11 till college, I was swinging from both left and right. But I eventually abandoned the right side just because there was no pop, how they say in the sport.
Did you feel safer playing on the left side at the beginning?
It felt more natural.
Okay, so it was more like a comfort thing. It started feeling natural.
Yeah. So like, I had never been like a power kid growing up. I was always like fast and sneaky.
Okay.
But when I started leaning into the left side, I found this like natural pop. Yeah, the pop.
Okay.
And
It
it
just grew
was
from
meant to
there,
be.
yeah.
It was meant to be.
And his dad was, okay, so he had a traumatic experience, right? Was that the point that you realized that the mental side of the game was even equally or more important than the physical side?
See, this is what I wanted to talk
we're
about.
diving
So
right
we're
in,
diving
brother.
into it. I didn't. My parents, the culture of my family was always very dog eat dog. Like it's a very hard life, and my parents just they were like just grind it out. And my dad specifically, like he didn't really understand what happened to his son. He went from like this happy go lucky confident kid to a kid that didn't really know what was going on and was very confused. And this also tied into around this formative period when you're entering like pre-puberty.
Yeah.
Like 11, 12, 13. I also got very injured, and my left leg started growing faster than my right leg. I was very not disproportionate, and it also ties into the social aspect, which I kind of fell behind socially, where I didn't fit in with the crowd, just because I feel like that injury triggered my body not to go into puberty, and it completely put a stop into everything, and I fell behind physically, mentally, socially.
So you had like social anxiety that was triggered through the injury, or you would just say that?
I guess.
How do you define it?
I guess baseball for me has always been like my foundation in life. Okay. Academically, I always did enough to like not trigger any warning signs. Exactly.
No red flags.
No red flags. But for me, baseball was always the my core, like my pillar.
Your rock.
My rock, exactly. Now I completely lost all my skill. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't handle the mental pressure that I put on myself.
And you were young, dude.
And I was a kid, exactly.
You were a kid, yeah.
So I was just a very confused preteen.
Like between 11 to
all the way till 14. Now, bro.
You're still confused.
Not as much anymore. But
how do you think did you ever find yourself back again? If so, how?
I think I at one point, especially when I moved to the States when I was 16.
Where in the States?
Florida. Of course. That's natural pipeline.
The motherland.
It was so funny because the year before, when I was finally 15, my dad looked at me and sat me down, and he was like, well, are we going to do this? Like, is baseball really something that you're going to pursue? And I was like, well, fuck yeah, it's the only thing I've ever known in my life. Yeah. And I started working out. I'm not going to say I've been fat or chubby, but I wasn't confident in myself, in the way I looked. And started working out. I started getting that confidence. I started looking good. The abs started popping. And I was 15 in Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico
está cabrón. And getting back to the point.
You started working out, fit. Oh yeah, exactly. Rico.
I started getting better at the sport. I started making friends. I started going out to parties and stuff.
So when you started taking care of your physical side, you're basically when you started taking care of yourself, that's when you started seeing a little bit of progress.
Exactly, and the biggest one was progress socially, because I've always thought just a little bit different than everybody else, and it got me into situations where I wasn't accepted, really. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna say I was the odd one out of the group, but it was just like, oh, that's Bryan. He's just a little crazy. And
were you crazy, or were you odd in the sense of, can you give us an example, or we don't want to get too specific? So or you're just like that guy that was.
I can get into details. Come on. Middle school, I got bullied rough. I fell behind physically, and I just was very confused. I didn't know what was going on. My grades started falling. Everything was falling apart. And
when the mind goes, everything else goes.
Exactly. Bro. And I was a kid, so I didn't really understand what was going on. And in retrospect, we've come full circle. Yeah. But when I was 15, puberty started kind of hitting a little bit, and I started catching my stride. I felt more confident in who I was, and I started going out, started making friends, girls, whatever. Boom! I moved to the States. Everything just went away. Fresh start. And I was just
was that something that you were looking forward to, or was it?
My parents dropped it on me like a week before we moved.
Really? Like that? They're like, yo, Bryan.
No. They were like, what do you think about moving to Florida? Mind you, from a baseball side of it, I spent every summer in Florida since I was 13 because of travel baseball tournaments.
So at least you were familiar with the.
Of course. But American culture is just very different.
Let's talk about that.
Let's
dig deep into that.
Let's talk about that. So, school-wise, academically-wise, and it translates to socially when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
I was a private school kid in Puerto Rico, and in Puerto Rico, it's just like 4 or 5 private schools, and I was in an all-boys school. So this whole dog world was like enforced also in my school.
With doggy dog, let's define for the audience. You mean
Oh,
like the hard
like survival of the fittest.
Yeah, okay.
Imagine putting 30 rich little pricks in one room
I'm telling them they gotta
and
fight
telling
for it.
them like, yo, the girls are coming when school's done because there's a volleyball game in the court, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a very alpha beta type of world, and I didn't know what the I didn't know what was going on, bro. So the funny thing is, when I finally moved to the States, I still remember. I got into the room. I had AP. I mean
You were taking APs?
Yeah.
You were smart, eh?
No, because the private school in Puerto Rico, if you went to a good private school, especially
okay,
the
gotcha.
private. So in Puerto Rico, wait, before I continue, there's 2 all-boys schools.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 all-girls schools, and then there's the rest of the schools that are like intermixed.
Like public? Were they public?
No,
or
these
they
are
were
all
just
private
those?
schools.
Okay.
I'm mentioning all private
All
schools.
private schools.
And people say, "Oh, you went to an all-boys school." No, bro. Like the moment we got out, we would go to the other
Yeah.
girls' schools. There's like a lot of fraternización, like
Not fraternities, but like interconnectedness.
Like, yeah,
let's
like,
say. They intertwine with each other. Right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like there was never a lack.
Like it was never divided. It was more like, okay, it's an all boys school.
It was
an all girls
purely
school,
on an
then
academic level divided.
gotcha.
Socially, we were all mixed in. But when
fraternización, we're throwing the Spanish terms.
when I moved into the States, I remember AP Euro history. I sit down, bro, and these 3 girls that are seniors, mind you, I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
These 3 girls that are seniors walk in, and I was just like, girls in the room?
Yeah.
What?
That was a massive change for
It
you.
was a massive change, and I still remember like the pheromones and the testosterone just kicking in, and I couldn't really concentrate for the first week because these senior girls that they don't even know about my existence. Mind you, I'm a sophomore, and I just couldn't process it.
Were you working out hard, by the way, at this point? Like, were you? How?
I
what
was
your?
I got a YMCA membership, and I was working out, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't learn proper training until I got to college, and I still learned it by myself. But after my first school, I went to my father had a job offer in Tampa. Clearwater is like Tampa's beach,
Yeah.
so we had to move again. I got in the end of spring season, and I went to Alonzo High School for like March, April, all the way to May, and then like 2 months of the first of the following year.
Mm-hmm.
Alonzo High School is one of the best baseball high schools in the state and the country.
Wow.
I still remember going to the state quarterfinal game, and their pitcher went to Gators, UF.
UF.
And
That's my brother went.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sick university.
Yeah.
And then their following pitcher went. Oh, he signed pro. That's my boy. Shout out Franco.
Franco.
He signed with Cleveland Indians. So all these like, I went from a school that was like average at best,
And he went
to
to
the
the best
best
one.
to the best one in Tampa. So the season was already done. I couldn't play, so I was just training for the summer travel baseball.
And
schedule.
what do you think made that team so good in comparison to the
I
one before?
never saw them practice because this ties into the next year. But it was part of the culture. Jose Fernandez, you know Jose Fernandez. He was a great pitcher for the Miami Marlins. He tragically passed away in a boating accident.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
So
that was a massive deal, man. I mean,
exactly. So
Yeah,
the baseball culture in that school was just massive. The coaches were whatever. Like I never really didn't get into the team. Never really made it to the team, but I think the culture that was around the team
like the
made
teammates,
Made
like
it
the
better.
people, the players, absolutely.
Exactly.
I
And
mean,
the
that's usually
school,
how it is.
and I went from a school that had 1,500 people to 3,500 people.
Wow. Yeah.
So mind you, I keep jumping. I'm not making any friends.
So you were just like a lone wolf all these years.
And I completely embraced it. I was like, it's not hard for me to make friends, but it's not a possibility because I keep jumping. So summer comes and goes. We'll get into travel baseball in a minute. But the next year comes, and I remember I talked to the coach. I'm like, "Yo, I'm here. What's the word?" As I'm a junior, as I come into his office, the new kid comes in the block, and he's a sophomore. This kid is committed to University of Miami for baseball.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey, how you doing, boss?" And I was like, "What position do you play?" "Oh yeah, outfield." I was like, Jesus
My
Christ.
God, bro. And that was it? That was...
2 players made it into the new team. Because, oh, by the way, there was no seniors. The only senior was the pitcher who eventually went to UF.
Okay.
There was like minimal spots left in the team, and I didn't make the cut.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it was extremely competitive.
Exactly.
Would you think that would have been like a game changer for you? Would you have pursued baseball in a pro level if you would have made the team, for example? Or were you not that bought into the sport?
I think staying in Tampa would have made my life a little bit more normal. I don't think I'd be here if I would have stayed in Tampa.
What brought you all the way here, by the way? Like,
bro,
fast forward.
So I went home, told my dad, "Yo, I didn't make the team." He was like, "What are you talking about? Like how?"
Yeah.
He was like, "This kid made the team." Oh, mine, 2 kids, 1 pitcher and him, the outfield. And I was like, "Who is this?" I was like, "Go check his perfect game profile." Stapled.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
And I was like, "Damn, I'm no competition." So my dad starts moving, and he finds a school in Orlando, in Kissimmee. They said Puerto Rico land.
Deep. Yeah.
An hour and a half away. And they're building a baseball program. The school's like a prep school. So they had a huge basketball program where they would bring international players into the school and prep them for college. And they were trying to do the same for baseball. And I went to the tryout. My tryout was literally a scrimmage with another school. I went crazy. I was like,
Balled out?
Huh?
You balled out?
I balled out. I was just like, yo, like, this is it for me. Like, if I don't make this team, then I don't then I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't transfer schools in Tampa, like stick to the address, whatever. I balled out. I made the team. And that prep school, I really learned about jock culture in that school, because the educational curriculum in that school was not good at all.
So it was more about like athletes.
It was more about developing the athletes.
Okay.
Athletics came before academic, which shouldn't be so. But it was a reality. Mind you, I got really prepared in my private school in Puerto Rico. So by my junior year, I was just like, I'm ready for college. Like, this is on an academic level. I'm like, this is not.
Yeah, like you were way beyond the academics.
I was fulfilled. Academically, I was fulfilled.
Ready to start.
But on a baseball level and on a physical level, I had still time to develop. Mind you, I was a late bloomer from like puberty, so I still like I was very aware that I wasn't fully developed and ready for college. So
you had to keep on working.
Exactly. I got into the office and they told me, you have the brains and the smarts to go to college and play baseball. You just got to get there on the baseball side. So I started training my ass off, and my senior year, there was new management in the baseball team. Same coach, but different. The people that were around him were different.
The assistant coaches.
The assistant coaches were different. Yeah, they were different.
Okay.
This is where the politics come in.
Yeah.
No one wants ¿Cómo yo digo esto? The only person that can get in the way of a Puerto Rican is another Puerto Rican. That makes sense.
Like another athlete.
Like nadie le va a tener más odio a un puertorriqueño que un puertorriqueño.
Okay. It's more of a cultural thing, right?
Yeah. In this team, I'm the academic standard. We don't really, school is not an issue, right? I'm telling you, like academic, but in terms of like who's the best prepared
athlete
for university for D1 is me. on an academic level. Like,
Yeah.
like I was the standard on the
You're up there.
GPA. I was the standard on the SAT. I got the highest SAT.
What'd
I
you
only
get?
got 1,200, bro. I got the highest SAT in the school, and I don't even think it was 12. I think I got 1190. And everybody was like, yo, we gotta get this kid recruited, but they weren't paying attention to me just because, and this ties into the mental thing, I was finally physically developing. I was finally coming into manhood.
Mm-hmm.
This little John wasn't.
The mind.
And
What makes you say that? Why?
because no one understood how I was so fast. My arm was always below average. I do need to make that clear. How I was so fast, how I had so much pop in practice, but it wouldn't translate consistently. It wouldn't translate consistently into the game. I have this thing that I'm gonna keep mentioning in the podcast, and it's a thing that's written my whole life. It's the flashes of greatness.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you have an amazing game and things just like, it's like, oh, that was good. Now do it again, and I can't. so
It's tough. That's what makes top performers top, bro. It's not.
Exactly.
It's hard to keep up with the performance. Like you can have a good game, but keeping up with it is more of a mental. And it sounds like that's what you kind of realize, right?
baseball is a game of failure. And I don't know if you know this, but in baseball, if you succeed 3 times out of 10, you're Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So I just think on a mental level, my brain couldn't process failure, and like my brain couldn't process the fact that I was gonna fail more than succeed. So whenever I did succeed,
It was self-sabotage.
exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was just like, time. What was the first question?
Hold up. This is good. So you think every time you would win, you felt like you didn't deserve to win, kind of, because you felt the pressure of, okay, I have to perform again. So now everyone's expecting me to perform this way. I'm expecting myself to perform this way.
Exactly. It's never been about anybody else but
By
me.
yourself.
It was always the pressure that I put on myself ever since I was a kid. And my parents couldn't understand it because at some points there wasn't even pressure. There was no pressure. It was just
in your mind.
It was just my mind.
How were you able to get past that, or are you still dealing with that today?
I think we're in senior year of high school. I need to there's about 3 years, 4 years. Damn, we're in 2023. There's 4 years that I still need to cover leading up to this. So, what was the first question?
Which one? The failure one? How do you
No,
overcome
not
failure?
not the failure, the mental.
The mental part. The mental part of the game.
The mental part.
So the physical part was there. This is where you left off. The physical part was there, but then your mind started failing you. So you would perform once, and then you weren't able to do it again.
Exactly. So I listened to this podcast the other day. It was a Joe Rogan podcast, actually. That's my boy. And I think the guest was Joel Turner. And Joel Turner, his son and he are both like on a competitive.
Yeah, the bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow. And he would talk about how you do everything perfect, but when your mind is triggered, when your mind says trigger, just it's like a split second where you, if you're not really confident and you're real to yourself, you lose it and you miss the target or whatever. This translates into every sport and life in general, where you do something for so long, in sports especially, you start at such a young age and you do it over and over and over, the 10,000 hours of mastery, right? And I would train so hard, bro. And for me, it's never really been about competition. It's always been about myself. I'm a very selfish guy, especially when it came to sport, because I knew that whatever position I was in, I could only get myself out of it.
Of course.
So it was just those little moments where everything goes right, and then that, like, the bridge, you're crossing the bridge, and just when you get there, everything just falls apart.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I couldn't understand. And this is why now on a coaching level, I like to deal with kids that are in high school, because when you get to high school, the If you have the talent, it's there. If you have the proof of work, it's there. But I like to deal with the mental side, especially. And I still keep in contact with kids that are 16, 17, because they're like I see them like my little brothers. And it's always about, forget the practicing, forget you do that. You already know that. It's crossing that mental gap and really taking control of this and really training this more than anything. And this school from Missouri picks me up. Junior college in Missouri.
Okay.
I'm a walk-on. They told me, based on your grades, you can get this and that. Like, I wasn't completely paying for everything, but my grades got me the money. They never saw me play. They only saw clips and stuff. So they were taking a chance on me. Before we continue, don't fight. Bro, my school, we were playing this tournament, I guess, and it's our biggest rival in our senior year. And the school, Pensacola State College, was seeing me. And I knew they were seeing me because they went to all the games. They started asking my coach about me. They weren't really interested in anybody else because of the grades. And
so the scout had his eye on you.
And I knew it. And I was performing. I was performing well. Because I'm the type of guy that, even though my mental really put that wall in me where I can never jump over it, I love a challenge.
Yeah. So
whenever the kid is in, I remember the kid was a Florida State commit, I'm stepping up to that plate. I'm like, I'm like, I got this. And I did perform. But I remember that second inning of the game, my catcher, mind you, I was not involved in this incident. My catcher was a little bit screws loose.
Yeah.
And the other team started chirping at him after an inning was over. And I'm coming from the outfield. I'm the last one that gets into the dugout. So I'm coming up from the outfield, and I see my catcher going in the dugouts, in the other dugouts direction. God. And I just grab it. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? This is it was like a tournament. It was like, this is the tournament final. Like,
you got ice on you.
Like, no, and he's a complete baller. So I'm like, stay focused. I pull him in. There's like teams, not even the other team. My team comes out. We like the whole scuffle, baseball scuffle, whatever. I look at the stands. Scout is gone. The good thing about junior college, and if you're a JUCO bandit, you know this. Junior college and the culture is the best at breeding just absolute dogs, bro. Like,
why? In what way, you mean?
Because I think there's a timer ticking. And
so you got to get things done.
You got to get things done. And academically, I was getting by. I was like enough to, I was doing 3.4, 3.5.
So baseball
comes in. The season starts. I'm a freshman. Got to earn my spot, whatever. There's like 4 guys in front of me. I start balling out. I finally get the chance to show what I'm about.
Prove everyone wrong.
Exactly. And COVID hit.
Bro, you were the unluckiest.
Bro, I remember we were about to play the rival school that weekend. I was seeing a girl from that school at the time, so she was finally gonna get to see me. My last AB on my freshman year was a home run, first home run ever. I want to make this known. I've always been an average player, but in baseball, everybody has their role.
Yeah.
So I was the sneaky, fast, very smart, kind of crazy guy. And sophomore year, that summer, I got to hang out with these kids that I still keep in contact with. I was a coach with my dad, and we were traveling Florida, playing baseball tournaments, whatever. And I saw myself in these kids because they were incredibly talented, but they really didn't know how to handle their emotions. Dive into your mental game, guys. It's way more important, because once you get to that level, senior year, college, none of that matters. You're a dog. If you're there, you belong there. If you make it to the team, you belong there. I want to make that known. Work on this, because this is your biggest enemy. It's either your biggest enemy or your biggest ally.
Yeah, that's golden right there. That is golden.
And I got some quotes that I gotta drop.
But even like outside, even beyond the sports, like even because I mean, let's say you make it all the way baseball, you're playing Division 1, even let's say even make it pro. At some point, sooner than later, that will be over. but the mental side stays with you.
Exactly, and that's
until
where it
the end of your
translates
days.
now. That's where it translates now. So when I got to my sophomore year of college, I had earned my respect. I'm a sophomore. I made it to another year. I got the scholarship.
Yeah,
I was
you
walking
belong
out.
there.
I belonged there, exactly. So everything kind of felt. I kind of leaned back a little bit, and the first semester, we had to lead by example. So even though my game I wasn't the best at the game physically. No one can keep up. I was at, like, remember
Beast.
we do the physical testing, we do everything, and I'd kill at that, and like the freshmen would look up to me just because on a pure physical level they knew that I'm legit, you know.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because my college coach would play these little games. My roommate and my best friend to this day is one of my best friends to this day was my competition, and they would pit us against each other just so you could like
Learn
we
how to
would
deal
wake
with
up
it.
at 5 a.m. and let's say he was hitting the gym and I couldn't stay in.
You had to hit the gym.
I
bro.
had to hit the
Yeah.
gym with him because like when we would, you know, it was all a mental game, but we would put pressure on ourselves, and that's what ultimately made us better.
I would say that's pretty healthy though. It's healthy competition, right? It comes from a source of inspiration rather
My
than
see, it's all based on perspective because my
Yeah.
freshman year I didn't understand that. My sophomore year, as I got a little bit more growth, I
Yeah.
understood that this could be really healthy. This doesn't have to be competitive and toxic. When the season starts rolling around, I had made terms with the fact that I wasn't gonna play anymore. I got a D2 look. I remember the school approached me. It was like, you know, what are you doing? I was like, I'm done playing, guys.
You're retired.
Like, yeah, like I came into the season knowing that it was gonna be over, and I had the best season of my life, bro. I felt like I was 12
Because
playing
you
again.
let go of all your pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was no pressure. Because I was always thinking I need to go D1, I need to go D2. And there was no pressure at all.
And that was your final season?
And
You
that was
just
my
balled
final
out?
season. I balled out and I had a great time. And I saw two sides of it. I have a friend, one of my close friends in the team. It was also his last season. But he still put pressure on himself. And he didn't have that good of a season. I mean, he didn't. Just because I felt like he was still like putting pressure on himself because he wanted to keep on playing. But we would talk about not playing anymore. I was like, you can't, if you're going to be successful, you got to come to terms with the fact that it's over and enjoy yourself. There's also politics involved in him, but we're not going
Yeah.
to discuss that. But I knew that it was over, and I had the best time of my life because there was no pressure.
Yeah.
I want to make it known that just because you stop playing your sport, whether it was your choice or not, you don't stop being an athlete.
That's facts.
And during college, I leaned into weight training, and it was great. I made it to the 1200 club, whatever. I got the numbers, whatever. But once I transferred out of baseball life and really started living real life, right? I booked a one-way to New York the 2 weeks after school was done.
Wow.
Yeah, and I showed up at my parents' house. I was like, yo, I'm about a one-way. I'm about to pursue this modeling stuff. Like, I'm about to do this. I strayed away from working out. I did not pick up a weight, run. I was running a little bit, just enough, like 10, 15, like a mile or two. But I wasn't working out at all until from June to like October, November.
Because he didn't have the obligation to do it. So that's when self-discipline comes into play, and you gotta make yourself do it. You know what I mean?
And I lost my way.
Yeah.
One of the questions was that, like,
How do you stay in shape now? How do you keep
exactly.
that?
I'm in a very competitive field, modeling. You know about it.
Yeah.
You're not success rate in baseball is like 3 times out of 10, and modeling is like 1.2, like 0.2 out of 10.
It's different. It's a different world.
It's a different world, but at the same time, I had to work out to keep in shape, but I started working out to keep the mental going. So the way I approach life is that I need to stay lean and very skinny, so I can't really be doing a lot of weight training. But I found that running and doing extensive cardio really quiets and really like quiets and it just makes it like go mute. And for those like 5 or 6 months, which translated into a year and a half, sadly, of me not knowing, like I felt like I was 12 again, bro. I really lost my way in this city in terms of like I got really involved in stuff. I was in
Bad stuff.
I was in places that I shouldn't have been, you know, and I found my root in running, and I found that working out and being an athlete. I'm not bashing on weightlifters because they are athletes, but it's not the same type of it's
as putting cardio.
It's putting cardio plyometric I right now I'm working out like if I was like doing the cardio day in baseball at college, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm just running, doing a lot of plyometric, and if you're feeling lost, because I know this goes on with a lot of athletes, especially after they're done playing their sport, really try to lean into what made you happy when you were younger. What made me happy when I was younger was working out a lot, because baseball, social, girls, whatever, that never really mattered. I had practice at 6 and I would get home at 11.
It was discipline, bro.
It was the discipline that I didn't even know that at the moment you're not aware, because it's like, you don't even have a choice.
But then after you see it,
you don't even have a choice when you're younger. So when you're an adult, you have to make time. Yeah. And that's when the self-discipline comes in, and like really knowing that needs to be a root part of your life, because it's always been. And if you really, you can lean into other things, but if you're feeling lost and confused, because I know a lot of people go through like this grief period where like, oh my God, I lost my sense of identity. Just because you stop playing the sport doesn't mean you stop being an athlete, B.
Absolutely.
So get up and go to work. Yeah. So what I wanted to touch on is that ties in now, and I learned in college heavily, is that you're a product of your environment and about the people who you surround yourself with.
Amen, dude.
I've always been socially a little bit outside. So now that it's an adult and you really get to pick and choose the people who you surround yourself with, keep a small circle. But I really loved it in college because my sophomore year, my competition was next door.
Boy, yeah.
So we would really push each other to become better every day. And like, I'm hitting the 5 a.m. workout. You coming with? You know, at like 9 p.m. You just drop it on me. It's like, I'm tired, bro. We just got out of practice.
Now you got to go, though.
But now I got to go because I can't be falling behind.
Yeah.
But I really learned about self-discipline and really started developing that relationship with my mental side in college, because the skill is there. The skill has been there since, the skill's been, you've been working on it since you were 3 years old. Exactly. It's about really taking care of that mental side of things. Now, how it translates into real life is that it's a dog-eat-dog world, especially in New York City.
Yeah.
And my parents, they didn't really believe in me at first, just because bought it one way. Who are you going? Where are you going? You're going to New York City? New York City? What? This place is crazy, and it is. But
it is wild.
But although I lost myself a little bit, and I found myself back. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Is that one thing that I've really learned is that you really got to prioritize yourself. You got to prioritize the reasons why you're doing what you're doing, whatever it may be. You're 9 to 5, you're a bartender, you're just trying to make money. Why? Just find a reason, find some purpose in life, because I've felt those moments where you have no purpose and you kind of just feel like a rock in space that's just drifting along, and we have all had those days.
Yeah.
But I think having a sense of purpose and really sets up the foundation for greatness.
I agree.
That's what I'm trying to be right now, bro.
You have goals you want to hit?
Yes. And I don't think I've never had a passion in life. My passion in life has always been baseball. I've come to terms with it. I do not miss the sport at all. I love going to the Mets. Go Mets, baby. Go Mets. I love going to the Mets to go watch the game. But after baseball was done, I realized I was a good baseball player. I wasn't great.
Now you want to be great.
I want to be great. David Goggins said this quote is like, do you really want to stare at yourself when you're 40 years in the future and look at yourself in the mirror and be like, damn, I could have been great? No! I'm going to be great right now. Like, my life goal is just to be great at any capacity. I want to be a great runner. I want to be a great lover. I want to be a great friend. I just want to be a great human being.
In every aspect of it.
In every aspect. Career goals, I've only got one life. And I'm shooting for the stars, bro. I want to be a superstar. And I manifest that and I work towards that every day because I've gotten a taste of the bad side, and you're a product of your environment. The people I initially met in this city, although they are good friends, they're bad influences.
So
you gotta be wary of those people. Let me say that again.
Yeah.
There's people in this world that are good friends but are horrible influences. And that sounds kind of mixed up, but it's not really, because
it's just how it is, bro. Listen, I always say you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Exactly. That's a very famous saying. But having said so, what do you look for in the people you surround yourself with now?
It takes me about 30 seconds when I meet someone to be like, are you going to click with me or not? I'm a person that I said that I'm a model. I said that I'm a content creator. No. You know what I am? I'm myself. No matter what. This is all that this is all I got. So this is all I'm going to be. People get caught up on trying to build a persona, trying to be liked. Fuck that. No, I am myself every single day. I love myself and I'm very self-aware, and every day is a journey on, becoming more self-aware and becoming more mindful of your thoughts. But about the qualities of your friends. I just look for that realness. I look for that honesty, and I can see from a mile away when someone's trying to be someone that they're not, because I've been there and I've been that person. And I looked at myself in the mirror one day. I was like, who are you?
You didn't like who was looking back at you?
Yeah, because it wasn't me. So it was just like, okay, now let's go back to brass tacks. I went back home. I saw my old friends. I went back to Puerto Rico specifically. It's the first time since COVID, and since before COVID. And I really got a sense of, I remembered who I was. And I surrounded myself with people that loved me for who I was. And now I'm just taking it back to the city. And now we're here. And now we're grinding.
And now and it sounds like also finding yourself through the athletics.
Of course.
Making it running, for in your case, right? Now that kind of helps you in terms of the discipline and finding yourself through the hardship, right?
Without a doubt, I can say that running, specifically, a lot of people are scared of cardio. You know why? Because cardio is not really a physical workout. It's a mental workout more than anything. And a lot of people don't want to deal with that. I have a very close friend of mine who, she religiously hates cardio, but she also has a lot of anxiety issues just like me. And I'm just like, lean into that. Because the main difference between weight training and cardio is like, when I'm weight training, I love the hard rock, the metal, the dubstep, and I get out the workout, I'm like, oh.
You're freaking pumped.
But when I get out of running or I go for a swim or something, I just feel like at peace whenever I'm like after the workout. And para gusto los colores, everybody has their own taste, but the cardio is a mental.
It's key.
It's a mental workout more than anything. And if you're scared of it, yeah, you should be. I hate cardio. I hate running. I hate having to. As far as routine goes, I hate waking up in the morning, eating a banana and going out for 6 miles when it's 40 degrees outside. But I know that I'm gonna do it. But I know that I'm gonna feel amazing at 10 in the morning, and everybody's waking up, and my day's already like halfway done.
Yeah, and you killed it, dude. I mean, it's part of the beauty about not only sports but working out. So the final message, you're talking to maybe your younger self or someone who's a little bit lost in life now. They're young. What would you tell them?
Lost in life. My coach used to say, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
That was Mike Tyson too.
Yeah, no. So I want to make it known that my coach, he just bit quotes all the time, and he thought it made it seem smart. But we'd be looking at the locker room like, yo, someone already said this. As far as you're gonna face adversity, you're gonna face failure. It's inevitable. It's an intrinsic part of our existence. Yesterday, I was at my last mile and I tripped and I hit myself so hard. And I looked at the floor, and I was middle of Brooklyn looking at the floor going, and I was like, well, motherfucker. I had my little conversation. I was like, well, motherfucker, are you going to stand up and keep walking and take that loss? Or are you going to take the loss and keep going? Just because, and keep going and finishing the actual goal that you had. Everybody gets hit. You're going to be down. The highs feel so high, but the lows also feel so low. I need you to understand that there's going to be highs and lows in life. But what are you going to be? Are you going to be something, or are you going to be nothing? Both are correct. Both are correct. But I'm choosing to be something. And you should too. Because I think the world needs more exceptional people that really take the chance and really try to step outside the line. Because we're on some hard times right now. Yeah. There's some soft-ass people out there. And I'm not soft. And I know you ain't either. So either be something or be nothing. You got to make that choice. But
you gotta and everyone has a choice. It's a matter of
either are correct.
What you choose, brother.
Exactly.
I agree. And on that note, Brian, thank you for coming. Guys, thank you for watching. That was fantastic. Felix, thank you for hooking it up.